Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've known many Garys in my life, and I gotta tell you, this guy is one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gary Kroger.
I look forward to your introductions of me, Kenneth, even when they make little sense. Really?
Yeah.
Who would have known? Well, welcome to the Gary and Kenny Show.
Go ahead.
I am the Gary. That is the Kenny. I'm in Cedar Falls, Iowa. I'm in Waterloo, Iowa, and you are in Calabasas, California. Hey,
I am, and we're recovering.
I mean, there's still fires burning, right?
No, the fires are all out. We had rain this weekend, so there's no more fires.
Okay.
There's only blame pointing. There's only that's what's going on, you know.
But before we get into that, Kenny, I just want to mention that Joe Piscopo is going to be our guest, my old friend from Saturday Night Live. So that's just in a few minutes. So, Kenny, before that, how are you?
The most challenging thing in my life right now, and I'm sure this will be, people will turn off the show immediately when they say it, but the most challenging thing is that I had this sinus surgery, about 5 days ago. And they said, whatever you do after this procedure, which, by the way, it turned out great. I'm very happy. But whatever you do not pick your nose.
Well, yeah.
I can't pick my nose.
How much of a problem has that been? Are you a real nose picker?
Listen, we all pick our nose, don't we?
Well, of course we all pick our nose. Could your nose picking be the reason there had to be a procedure? Did you overpick your nose?
No. I'm not an overpicker.
Well,
No. What happens is that it had nothing to do with that. It's just that what happened, and I don't want to get into the detail, but...
Well, I want to know what you did. Was it a deviated septum?
They put stuff in medical utensils, I don't know where they are, instruments, medical instruments up into your nose and your sinuses, and they scrape around and they suck things out and they blow things up. I know, look at this, right? But I'm telling you, I was fine with all that. And one of the reasons I was fine with all that was because my friend Lee Kerner said, listen to music and put your music on loud, put in your ear beats.
Yeah.
I can listen, so I wouldn't hear all the noises. Exactly. So anyhow, So you did you pack your nose with cocaine? I mean, are there some good stories here? No, I've been doing saline solutions and all of this kind of stuff, but I'm just really looking forward to going in there myself and just doing the work.
Well, what's the time frame? What does the doctor say? When can you get your finger back up there?
I have to go back in a week and he'll look.
He'll know. He'll know. Hey, Mr. Seisler, are you telling me the truth? I've incidentally, I've gone in there and realized it because I wasn't thinking. I was like, oh my God. Well, so now you did send me a picture of your nose pack. You sent me a picture post-surgery where you looked like Carl Malden.
Well, didn't I look just like Carl Malden?
You did, with light nostrils where the cotton was. All right, but you look good. You feel better.
But enough about my health. Yeah, I feel terrific. How about you? How's your health?
This is the first time I feel terrific. I'm great. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. I've lost a few pounds.
You did? How'd you do that?
I'm taking Ozempic.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about this. All right.
Well, let's talk about the fact that, first of all, you inject it, right? I'm not a big fan of putting a needle. I feel like a heroin addict. I can't do it. And it's painless.
Right.
It's nearly painless.
Yes.
But I still can't do it. So my wife takes the skin and sticks it in there.
And you have to do this every day?
No, once a week.
Once a week.
Once a week. Yeah.
And so you find that by doing, how did you got a prescription for this?
Mm-hmm.
You're not obese or overweight.
No, but
how many pounds overweight would you say you were?
20.
20? Oh, you really? I never saw that in you. I
don't look like it, but I'm okay and I exercise, but I want to be at a certain place, and I'm doing this for vanity, not for health, to be honest.
Well, that's what everybody's doing it for, but I will make this point about it. I have a lot of people, not a lot of people, I know 5 or 6 people that I know that are on Ozempic who really, I thought always 5, 10 pounds at the most overweight. And they're all on it now. And they've lost so much weight that, to my opinion, they look sickly.
Well, I will not go there. I will not go there. I'm going to do this for a couple of months, and when I get the pounds off that I want, I have weight that doesn't show. I have interior weight, and I'm look. I'm 68 this year, and I just want to look great in a suit for a few more years.
Absolutely.
Turn on my wife, and so I'm willing to try. I see no health side effects. In fact, I feel great. What it does is it simply curbs your appetite. It doesn't. It's not like taking Excedrin or something that, like one of those over-the-counter, diet pills.
But how much are you paying for it?
Well, I'll be honest. I'm taking a derivative, which is about $150 a month, because without a prescription, you're paying $1,000 a month for Ozempic itself.
Right. So this kind of begs the question is that are we going to get to the point where it will just be like every other pill over the counter?
Yes.
And then what would be the reason that people could have for being overweight? I mean, if this Ozempic could be the magic bullet, if you will, for helping so many people? And helping as far as the health industry and reducing.
Well, I think we're going to. The side effects could be down the road. Who knows? I mean, this was developed for diabetes.
It may be down the road, but people are going to look terrific.
Yeah. Well, I want a smaller coffee.
Gary, I can see that you're having difficulty walking, but you look.
But you look good. Kenny, I would like to bring out our guest. Do you mind?
What did I ever?
Well, I like to be deferential. You know that.
Well,
I'm a Midwesterner.
Okay.
Well, look, we've been teasing our guest coming up, and an old friend of mine, a colleague, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joe Piscopo. Hey,
Gary,
Joey,
how are you? Joe, listen, hi, Kenny.
Hi,
Gary,
Joe.
it's good to see you, man. We're promoting the book, so they sent me a list of all the podcasts, and they said, Gary Kroger would like to talk to you. I said, oh, my gosh. I said, that's the greatest thing. It's so great to catch up with you, my brother. Are you in Idaho still?
I'm still in Iowa, yeah. Just quickly,
Idaho, Iowa, very simple.
It's one of the vowel.
I thought something.
One of the vowel states. I'm in Iowa.
You're still in Indiana. Okay, well, that's good.
Let me quickly explain, Kenny. When Joe and I saw each other at the 40th 10 years ago, and obviously we're going to talk about the 50th, Joe came up to me. Well, I came up to Joe, and we chatted for a little while. And I told him that I was running for Congress. So he had me on his radio show. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you, Joe, I know we don't agree on everything in terms of politics, but you were so deferential. You were so kind and so supportive. Yeah. And you told people that I was a good guy.
You are a good guy. You would have been great. You would have been great, And even though, I'm an old blue dog Democrat from 100 years ago, but it does, politics aside, we just need the people, man. So what happened? So you ran, and because you were on my show, you lost? Is that what happened?
Well,
he ran in the wrong state. He actually was from Iowa, but he ran in Indiana.
I ran a good race, but hey, and I don't want to talk politics, but here it's all about money. And I couldn't raise enough. Yeah. And I hated calling people up like you, Kenny, and go, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. You got $500. All right, talk to you later. Hey, Joe, I haven't talked to you in a while. You got $500. Yeah. I couldn't stand it.
That's the worst.
And I didn't raise enough money.
Yeah, that's a shame. And I always said, and I know we'll get into whatever you guys want to get into, but I always say, even in Jersey, when they say, Joe, you should run for governor, I always think there should be no money allowed. How about that? No money allowed. So we all go on like PBS because we pay for it anyway. You go on your local PBS station and you have a grassroots effort, and people could vote like on their phones or something. They have to change the whole system, I think. You're absolutely right.
Joe, we agree on something to start with right there.
Can I segue to?
Go ahead, segue.
First of all, congratulations to both of you for being alive 50 years after Saturday Night Live premiered. Congratulations. Who would have thought?
It's going to be, you know what? And I don't know how we're going to get on the stage without our walkers. That's the whole thing.
Hey, Joe, are you involved with this show? Are you going to get up there and do an intro?
This is interesting because we're not of the Lorne Michaels hiring edict, so we never get and we didn't get hired by Lorne. Except I think I speak for you, Gary, to have immense respect for Lorne. He is the grand, high, exalted, mystic ruler of SNL. Right. But at last 10 years ago, they said, "Would you do the Frank Sinatra thing?" If they ask, yes. But right now, like nothing. It's like nothing.
Right,
So
right.
we're going to go to all the events and be grateful to be there, and honored to be there, frankly. But right now, not performing. Robin Duke just texted me, Gary. Is that the wildest thing?
Yeah.
She said, "Are you going?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going." So it's gonna be like old home week. It'll be fun, Kenny. It'll
So
be fun.
Robin is going.
Yeah, I think the last I saw, checking here in my new set. By the way, that is happy birthday. Can you see it in the back? It's happy birthday.
Yes.
I have in New Jersey. I have a child at every exit, so it's like I have a lot of kids, and then they come in and they decorate for my birthday, and it's great. And then the guys got it before we went on the air, and they said, "How long has that been up there?" And you understand, if you're dad, you leave things like that up.
Exactly.
It's about 8 months now up there. It's been happy birthday.
I know.
Just so you know. Yeah, Robin Duke, are you going to the Sunday show? Yeah, it's Sunday night, right? And then there's something at Radio City, Gary, too, right?
On Friday night. So I'm going to get in there on Friday. Are you going to the Radio City show?
I am. You know what?
All right. Well, I'll see you there. I hope.
Have you picked out your wardrobe?
Yeah.
What are you wearing?
I don't know. Isn't it black tie for everything? I mean, anymore.
Well, it is. But what does black tie mean? I don't have a tuxedo. I mean, I'll rent one if I have to, but can't I just wear a nice suit?
Yeah, I think that to that. And you know what's a good question. No, I think this Sunday night show, the 3-hour broadcast, is black tie. I could arrange. I know a guy. And I
know a guy?
I know a guy.
I can have a fitting in New Jersey before I get there.
More than happy to do that,
Joe, let me ask you a question. I know Kenny's got a bunch of questions, but let me ask you a question. Do you think that they sort of ignore, as you said, because we weren't Lawrence, our era a bit? Do you feel that we're well represented? Because I know a lot of fans think we're not.
Yeah, lately it's been good, and I see like what I did do over the last year. I could talk about it now. They said don't talk about it, but we did some interviews, So they brought me into Studio 8H, and I got to tell you, and Kenny, Gary knows it. When you work at SNL, man, that's the bar, baby. That's the bar. They do everything right. Everything's classy, and from sending the right car to getting. As soon as you walk in, the props are great. The wardrobe is great. It's a matter of fact. I'm on radio. It's like and they don't understand what it's like to be in the SNL real world of entertainment. So when we go there, yeah. So but just lately, I've been feeling some love. I've been feeling the love a little bit. So lately, but and I can't. You got to, for me, and not so much for you, Gary, but for me, when we were the cast that replaced the original cast, I still don't know why Lauren left, or I don't know what happened, but I was thrown in there, and I didn't win. And like when I wrote in my book, and thank you for letting me plug the book. Look at me, I got it right there. When I wrote the book about SNL, I didn't want to do SNL at that time because you couldn't replace Belushi and Aykroyd and Gilda Radner and Chevy Chase. You couldn't do it. And they said, "No, Joe, you got to do the show." I said, "I'll do the show." So that now, I understand. I have a guilt about it. Like I never felt really a part of it, Gary. You know what I mean? I never felt like because those were the guys, and then I don't know what it was, but once we got our thing going, with you and with Eddie and everybody else. So I don't question it. Are we left out a little bit? Maybe, but I don't blame him for that.
See, to me, when I got there,
yeah.
we were told ultimately the reason we were hired is to light a fire with you and Eddie so that you didn't become complacent. And as soon as we got there, apparently the fire was lit because we used to say we were like the Professor and Marianne before they got the name credit. We were and the rest.
We could talk. This is great because, in the book, I didn't throw anybody under the bus, but man, I could have. I mean, I really all. And you know what I mean? I could have, in every aspect of my life and at SNL. And there are stories, and how everything happened and everything unfolded. But I was respectful to everybody, so I'll leave it at that. But no, it was when you guys came in, and you and Julia came in and Brad came in. I felt so bad because Eddie and I almost had our thing at that time.
Yeah.
And by the way, we didn't plan it that way. It just happened. So then when you came in, I always felt guilty. But you were always great on the air. You guys were always great on the air. But I felt particularly bad. I've said this publicly about Julia because what was she, 19, Gary, at the time?
Maybe. Yeah. She was 19.
And we could have said, "Hey, come on in this sketch." But Kenny, I got to tell you, Gary knows. It's if you don't write for yourself, if you don't hustle, you're not on the air, man. You're just not on the air. So we were so used to writing for ourselves, getting on the air. But I guess I can apologize to you, Gary, on the air for not opening up more opportunities, my friend. You
Well,
know?
I was going to ask this question a little later, but since we're talking about it, you guys obviously learned an enormous amount from that experience,
Yeah.
an amazing experience. If somebody you knew just got hired to join the cast and came to both of you and said, "Hey, what advice would you give me? What's the best thing you can tell me going into this show?"
I'd say go talk to Joe.
Yeah, I
Seriously.
I would say write in ones, right, Gary? Write in ones. What's an in one? Watch Dana Carvey. The guy who wrote the book on in ones is Dan Aykroyd. You know, the Bassomatic. It was Dan Aykroyd. Danny is like, he really is the captain.
The template.
Yeah, he's the guy. Of Starship SNL. It's Dan Aykroyd. Everything that the show is about, in my opinion, emanates from Danny Aykroyd. His execution, his introspective portrayal of the characters, it was just genius. It was genius, and that's the way it should be. And I learned, okay, let me just do it in one. Whether it was me as a sports guy, and then or Eddie doing all his in ones, you know, whether it was Buckwheat, whoever it was. But Dana Carvey absorbed that and got that. Dana's a friend and one of the most brilliant cats on the planet, man, and the sweetest guy in the world. Dana's in ones are legendary, you know. So that's what I would say. I want to tell you this, guys, just for a second. No, so they said we did a video, and then they said it was a film. And when you go again, SNL, they said, "Joe, would you come to Studio 88 and do some retrospective on Saturday Night Live?" And there, Gary, I said, "You sure it's me? It's not Joe Pesci? Joe Piscopo, right?" I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure it was okay. So I went in there, started talking about it. Then the special came out. It's on Peacock if you get a chance to watch it. And I think
the music.
There's music one, then there's one about the cast. You got, and if you check Peacock, and it's not a plug, yeah, it's a plug, I guess, because and then they did one about the cast on what it's like to be on Saturday Night Live, and then they did one about writers, Gary, about the writers and the writers' wing, how it's impossible and what they have to go through. It was shot so well. I wish I could remember the director, but on my thing, I'm watching. I said, let me watch this for a second about the cast, and they used me a little bit. Tracy Morgan was in. Everybody else was. We all felt the same way. And Kenny, you know what it was? I can't believe we're here. I hope I don't mess this up. You know, and every single talent, all the great talent, from Pete Davidson to everybody on SNL was saying the same thing, man. So
without a doubt, I'd get cut out of a show or a couple of weeks, and I'd be down and depressed and sad because that was my job and I wasn't in it. But then I'd go, wait, I'm getting paid to live in New York, and I'm on TV once in a while. That doesn't suck.
Yeah, it's so true. You know what, Gary, though, but you always were up and positive, man, and that was what always that meant more than anything else, and supportive. And then Jimmy Belushi was with us at that time too.
Yeah,
right?
the second year that I was there, Belushi was there.
Well, did you guys have the audition tapes? Because I'm seeing the promoting of the special, and they're showing all the original audition tapes.
That's the one. Yeah.
Do you have your audition tape?
Did you do an audition tape, Joe?
Huh?
Did you do an?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It's the worst. It's the worst.
Really? Do you remember what you did?
Wait, they sat. That's the special I'm talking about. They sat us in this great theater. It was really high-end director, and they showed your tape, and you got a comment on it. And mine, I thought, was so bad, man. I guess maybe we all felt that way. Gary, did you audition? Did you have to audition? Huh?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, and I'll tell it briefly. Bob Tischler and Dick Ebersol came to see our show with me, Brad, Juliet, and Paul Barras in Chicago, and they hired us on the spot. But just before that, my agent in Chicago called and said, Saturday Night Live wants some tape. And I said, well, what do I do? And they said, just do anything. So I went into an office, and I did like Ed Sullivan introducing the Beatles into Red Skelton into the tree from The Wizard of Oz. How'd you like it if somebody picked your apples? Or, just a bunch of weird stuff. Yeah. Yesterday and today, our studio's been filled with hundreds of newspapermen and photographers from all over the country. And anyway, it was just this wild stuff. Yeah. And then they came to see the show and they hired us. So whether it was based on that tape, I have no idea. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah. If you see that documentary, you could see, you will see the audition tapes. And mine was, you know what the thing was? I'm going to make an excuse why it was so bad. When I didn't want it, I was working at the time. I came off the improvisation. I was doing commercials. I was making money. All I wanted to ever be is just working. That's what I always said, working.
Right.
And just I don't want to be I didn't want to be a star. I didn't think about Saturday Night Live, and I fought my agent at the time, Chris Albright. Chris was the HBO.
Chris was my agent for a while.
I know.
He was the best.
He was the best.
Yeah, he did Larry David. He did Sex and the City and The Sopranos, and legendary producer. But I think it was at ICM at the time. He said, "No, you got to do Saturday Night Live." So when he did the audition, I just winged it, and when I watched it, and they used some of it, and what they used, unfortunately, wasn't that bad. But it's always embarrassing when you.
I want to ask questions about your memories, you guys' memories of it, because I looked up how many cast members had been on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you guys know how many people through the ages are now cast members and whether or not they're all going to be at the party, although I think
150.
Yeah.
That was a very good guess, Gary.
Oh.
It's 169, I believe.
Wow.
And the one additional one is Sid Caesar. Sid Caesar was made an honorable cast member
when he did the show with us, Joe.
Yeah.
And I saw the promo that Joe did with Sid Caesar.
Yeah.
I've heard so many stories about it, and as a kid growing up, I mean, I know Sid Caesar, the Mel Brooks, that whole thing. That to me would have been like unbelievable.
Yeah.
How was that experience working with Sid Caesar?
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember like yesterday, because he was a genius. But I always felt, and I hope this isn't right. He passed away, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, I could be more honest if he passed away, but because I'm the only person going to listen, rest his soul, because that was the guy that wrote the book for all of us. Sid Caesar did. And
shows.
So he was great, but I always felt, and Gary, do you feel this way? I don't know that we gave him the right material.
We did.
We didn't let him really go.
No.
Didn't you feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. We did not give him a good show. I don't know that he understood the form, even though he created the format. It had changed enough that I don't think he understood what we were doing, because he was always the center focus of it. And I think we were more ensemble.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gary,
it wasn't a good show, though.
Yeah.
Your worst host was it Robert Blake?
He's the one who wiped his ass with a script of mine, but I didn't dislike him. I really didn't.
Joe, what was your worst experience with a host?
Joe, I don't know if you'll remember that moment or just
conjuring
up the image of Beretta wiping his ass with my script.
And Robert Blake was like, he came into, pretty much kicked the door down in my office, and Eddie and I were in there hunkered down around a typewriter at the time, and he goes, "Oh, I get it. You guys hunker down in here in the bunker, and you write for yourselves." And he slammed the door behind him. He goes, "Now you're writing for me."
You're right.
What a way to kick off a fun, comedy.
Don't shoot me, Bobby. I said, "Whatever you do," but I said, you know what? He was. I remember it was okay, but you didn't have a good.
No, I did fine. I pitched a script. The Monday pitch meeting, right? And I pitched some idea that I had been writing, that he was Beretta and he had the cockatoo who could quote Shakespeare and was just more intelligent than him or something like that. I don't remember the premise.
Yeah.
But he said, "Here's what I think of that." And he took the pages and he wiped his ass and he threw them at me. But people tell the story as if I was really hurt. Yeah. All I thought was, I'm in show business. This is what a star does when he doesn't like the material. I had no problem with it.
Exactly.
Was there a particular host that you might have had a problem with, Joe? Do you remember?
No, never a host. But I have to tell you, the genius of Don Rickles, certainly, and Jerry Lewis we love, because Jerry was my idol, and Eddie too. So Jerry Lewis amazing. But man, I mean, Gary knows Robin Williams was like a gentleman and genius.
Absolutely.
And I want to tell you this, guys, and Gary, this is what I love. Well, because sometimes, and I don't like to badmouth anybody, there were people that weren't easy to work with, but we did it. We did it because it was an ensemble. But sometimes you'll get people who hog the stage, But the real geniuses, like Robin, and like Jerry Lewis, like Don Rickles, they would, and Robin particularly, he would blast out, get screams. And if you remember, Gary, he would always step out and let you do your thing. It was like a rhythm with Robin. And the same thing with Jerry, and some the true greats let you breathe a little bit, you know. And Eddie wrote the book on that, man, because Eddie.
Did you see the movie?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Did you see the movie Saturday night?
No, I saw it's on Netflix. I gotta watch it. Is it good?
Gary?
I hated it. I did not like it.
What happened?
They turned it into my favorite year. They could have shot it the way it was, which we know. The chaos doesn't need to be amplified, but they choreographed it to where it lost its authenticity.
Yeah.
I know people who love it, who are entertained by it, and I'm not.
But they made George Carlin a bad guy. How do you make George Carlin?
And they really screwed up Belushi. They made him an a-hole. In ways that,
that's not necessary. Are we? But more importantly, are we in it? Did they put our characters in?
No, they did not. It goes up to the first live from New York. I mean, it's just the first show, and that's it. Hey, I got to tell you something, Joe.
Okay.
Because we were talking about coming to the show, and I never wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. It was never my plan.
Yeah, right.
I just wanted to work, just like you.
Yeah,
so when I got there, and I know it sounds like I'm kissing your butt because you're the guy, but Joe, you're the guy to me. Eddie's career had just skyrocketed because 48 Hours just came out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was like being on the Lucy show, and he'd walk out, and the audience would stop and applaud, right? You were such a hardworking actor that I learned something from you, and it was how to do an impression. Because you worked so hard. And what Joe taught me was that you find a hook phrase, you find a hook line to get you into it. Mm-hmm. I worked up Alan Alda on the blood on Klinger's apron is clashing with his paisley dress. And that's how I would get into it.
Right,
My first memory of you, Joe, is to get into Ted Koppel. You'd be going, I'm Ted Koppel. I'm Ted. And it was just so perfect. And then the red light comes on, and you were Ted Koppel.
You know what?
I got to get a couple of questions in that I'm very curious about. Just read an article about how Lorne Michaels hates it when the characters break out laughing. Did you guys, I don't know how Ebersol was, do you guys remember sketches that you were in that were just too funny you couldn't keep a straight face?
Joe, you go first.
Yeah, no, we did it all the time. As a matter of fact, the greatest time on that show for me was live with Eddie, when we were live. Because you know what? I don't think we had a delay, Gary.
No, there was not. There was not.
We were there was 8, 10, 20 million people, however many people were watching, and we would dance, and Eddie and I would dance, and we would laugh. And then you know what was nice about it? It played to the audience, and they got it. It was very Carol Burnett-ish, you know. But then I could remember Jimmy Fallon, the great Jimmy Fallon, who I absolutely love. And Jimmy started doing that on the show, which really I thought was ingratiating. So yeah, we would crack up, and you guys,
the first time I saw you crack up was we did Return to Mayberry, and you were Otis, and Floyd, and Eddie was Floyd, and one of you got the characters' names wrong, and everybody knew immediately, and suddenly you can see you're stifling a laugh, Eddie's stifling a laugh, the audience laughed. And also when Don Rickles just went off script. Totally off script.
It was out of fear. And the story goes, long story short, Kenny, Gary knows, we wrote that. Rickles did his open, which he crushed it. It was politically correct and hysterical. And then we had the first sketch, and that first sketch out of the box pretty much makes the show, because if you bump there, your rhythm of the show is off. So you got to do sometimes a cold opening, the monologue. That first sketch is so important. And that first sketch that we were doing with Don and Jimmy Belushi and Timmy, the witness protection, Gary, remember that? Yeah. It didn't. And so before, and Gary, I don't know if you know this, I put it in the book, but I don't think Don actually talked about it, but he did his monologue. I remember it was where home base, it was to the right of where home base was. I remember exactly where the sketch was mounted. And I was about to step in, and Joe Dixo, our stage manager, is going 60 seconds like that, and he would make it all dramatic so the crowd.
5 seconds.
Remember that. So then I look over at Rickles, and he's sitting in his chair like this, but his arms are down, and he's breaking out in a complete sweat. Now it's not real now, and then I hear 30 seconds, and I go, Don, are you okay? I will go with him. He goes, Joe, this sketch isn't going to work. He goes, he told me that. He goes, the sketch isn't working. He goes, I'm telling you, it's not written right. I'm not feeling it. And I remember, out of fear, I just said, yeah, but you're Don Rickles. I said, I don't know, what am I thinking? You're not Rickles. He goes, no, not working. 5 seconds. So we're on the air. We start to do the sketch, and dang, if Rickles wasn't right. I don't know if I wrote the sketch, whoever wrote the sketch, but it wasn't working. So that's where Don and I started talking back and forth. He was like doing a goofy character, had a hat on his head, camera was off my left shoulder, and then I had to do a rapid reply to whatever he was doing. And every time I would talk to him, I slap him in the face. This was
I remember. Yeah.
Just had to help me rescue this bang. And I said this, bang, boom. Camera's back over here. I put my hand over Don's mouth, and I give him a big kiss. Like, it looks like I kiss him on the lips from behind. And then I took his hat over his ears. He does a pratfall, rest by the grace of God, work great. Oh, wow. That was scary. But we ad-libbed, Kenny, the whole show was ad-libbed.
Well, that's when it's the most fun. Now, I know we're running out of time, but I want to get two questions in. One is, because I have these recurring dreams. I'm a TV director, and so the idea of I have the recurring dream, I can't find the script. Nobody's going to give me the script. I'm just curious, from you guys who've been in Saturday Night Live, do you still to this day have those dreams?
Yes.
And you're on the set, and you're...
Yeah. Gary, go.
I have them all the time because I didn't know what I was doing back then. I knew I had talent. I knew, but I didn't know how to put it together. I know now because Saturday Night Live was graduate school, and I'm more mature and wiser and more confident.
But is there a recurring dream that you have regarding?
I have a recurring dream that Lorne Michaels hires me and then immediately fires me. Seriously.
No,
he's like, what are you doing here? And it's like, well, you hired me. Well, you're fired.
So I have a dream that I'm on the set and I don't know the script, and I got to look at the cards, and I didn't see the script, and that's a recurring dream for me, and I don't know where I am. What is the sketch? Where is it? Why didn't someone give me the script?
No, that was called the Don Rickles episode.
Yeah.
That was it.
Who are you both of you? Who are you most looking forward to seeing that you haven't seen in a long time? That you're like, oh my goodness.
Joe Piscopo.
Gary Kroger.
Maybe that question was too easy. I'm sorry.
Hey, Joe, I am looking forward to seeing you because 10 years ago I saw you at the bar with Don Novello at the Plaza, and we had such a nice conversation. And I'm going to be back there, and I'm hoping that you and I can share a drink.
It'd be my honor, Gary. I love you.
And can I get a signed copy of your book?
You sure can. Absolutely. Oh, can I do this?
Put the book up. Yeah, plug the book big time.
It's Average Joe, and the interesting thing about it is all those things that we went through that we just talked about haven't really been documented. So I wrote them here, and Danny Aykroyd gave me a really nice little blurb in the back, and Dana gave me a nice blurb in the front.
Are you going to do an audio book?
Thank you. Great question, Kenny. Can I tell you? I don't tell anybody. I like the audiobook better because I danced around. They had me record it because what else do I got to do but to talk for 250 pages? And, but I did it, but there's some things that don't maybe translate to the book. The audiobook is gold. Thank you for that plug.
The book's it's not released yet though, right? It's going to be released in a couple weeks.
You can pre-order it at Amazon. Absolutely.
Pre-order at Amazon. Yeah. Joe, I can't wait to see you. There's so many things we could have talked. Well, this could have been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're so much fun.
Hopefully you'll come back and revisit us. I guys can talk about your experience at the reunion. That would be fun.
Thanks.
I'll do some videos, and then we can put those in there.
That's a great idea. Kenny, thank you. Gary, you know what? You were always such a stand-up guy, a great talent indeed. But in that heat of the battle, people don't really know what it's like. So, it's good to see you, my friend. God bless you. Can't wait to see you in a couple weeks already, right?
2 weeks. Yeah. I'll see you in 2 weeks. But I need to go to your tailor first. I don't know what to wear. I'm in the Midwest.
I know a guy.
I don't have clothes. I've got overalls. I've got my black
from Idaho. Why don't you say goodbye, Gary?
I know. All right. Hey, everybody. We are on all the popular podcast platforms. We have our own YouTube channel, The Gary and Kenny Show. We are on DBTV streaming television. So catch us on any one of those. We have enjoyed Joe Piscopo so much. Joe, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Kenny, I see you all the time.
Thank you, Joe, so much.
So long, everybody.
God bless you guys.
All right.